Hey guys, Earl at Sumo Bully Kennels. Welcome to another episode. Sorry, haven't seen you guys all week. It's been a crazy one for you new viewers. Welcome to the channel, right? Uh, Before we get going, I want to send some special shout outs to all our viewers and supporters. Thank you very much. And if you are new here, we have this thing called a handshake agreement, right? We're going to give you the best quality content you could find online. And all I ask is that you shake my hand right now. We're shaking on it. Tap the like, tap the subscribe, right? We're going to show you some love, show us love back. Anyhow, guys, it's been a long week and very excited to bring you this episode with my friend from Araya with Samba Kennels. Welcome to our new series. We're going to call it Sumo and Samba. So here, my beautiful co-host, meet the beautiful Araya of Samba Kennels. There she is.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Earl with Sumo. And
Right.
I'm here. Finally.
Right.
Finally
There you
back.
go. Well, okay. So, just for the purpose of introductions, for those of you who are not familiar with Araya, uh, she is known in the U.S. for her amazing boy, Mr. Klaus, the American XL Bully stud with the record lock-ins for 2023. That boy is the reason why I reached out to Araya because I fell in love with him and he is amazing. Um, Not to mention an amazing Brazilian dog that brings tremendous substance to our industry, guys. He is really throwing his look. She has been involved in breeding, showing, and transporting dogs for probably the 18 plus years. She brings a wealth of knowledge and experience that most breeders do not possess. She is, in fact, my breeder as well, meaning that I have purchased dogs from her, and I am using Klaus in my program. As I promised you guys, I would bring people who are smarter than me on our show so that we can all learn together and grow as a community. Okay? So without further ado, here is Miss Araya of Samba Kennels. How are you?
I am well. How are you doing? Everything here is very good.
Well,
What about you guys?
I'll be better when it's May because we have the Midwest weather and it's very cold. So,
Yes, Texas weather here in Texas. It's a little cold, but not it doesn't get not even as close to you guys. Like it's mild cold.
I'm
But weather
assuming,
was very beautiful today.
what was your temperature today?
55.
Okay, well, so your winter is our spring. I am
Probably.
dying inside. How are the dogs?
The dogs are doing great. I was just with them a few minutes ago. Then I had to step inside and get ready. But I spent the whole day with them today working. You know, weekends is the days that I have some help here, so I can do more things and work outside. And it was a beautiful day. So they're wonderful. My dogs were all together outside enjoying a whole bunch of toys that I got for them. So yeah, they're doing great. Thanks for asking. How about yours?
The dogs are great. Anytime we get some sun, today wasn't too bad, 28, 30 degrees, but the
Hmm.
sun's out. So I like that. The dogs get to run and play. And, I feel bad for them when they're so cooped up and the weather's bad. It bothers me, but of course, the dogs don't want to go outside when it's raining either, right? So
Right.
just craziness. But yeah, we're excited. We're excited for May to roll around. We're halfway through February and then
It's
get
almost
to March.
there.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Well, here I am. I picked this topic, right? Because one, I've gotten your help plenty of times when it comes to this particular issue. And I think more people wouldn't be so scared to invest and bring in, different things to their kennel, whether you're in the US or another country, if you knew that you can find a reliable and trustworthy way to get the dog to you. And that's why this one was a big one for me, especially importing a dog myself. And I feel like for our viewers and followers and listeners that this is a really good one. There's nothing wrong with taking chances and following your vision and thinking outside of the box and being really creative. But a lot of, I think, what limits that is that people get a little scared, and rightfully so, right?
Exactly.
So, okay, today's topic, guys. Let's get into the topic of dog transport with a dog transport specialist. Um, hmm. Can you share with our viewers how you got into dog transporting?
Well, about as let me talk a little bit for the ones that don't know me. I've been breeding for almost 2 decades, and it took me a while to get established. And I
You're only
started
20.
with,
How is that possible?
I wish. Oh boy, I wish. It's been a long time since I was 20. But um, it took me around 8 years to get established in my breed, the one that I started, which is Dogo Argentino, which I still breed them. And in about 10 years ago, I got a I had a dog that became really famous, really popular worldwide. We had many champions a little before that, a little after that. We we had tons of champions and grand champions in my Dogo Argentino program, all dogs from my kennel. And but that one especially, he became very popular, and everybody all over the world wanted puppies from him. And you imagine in Brazil 10 years ago, not very many people transported dogs other than cargo. We're going to talk about cargo and how the different forms of transport are. But at that time, um, my first client wanted to purchase a puppy from me, and they were in Taiwan, on the other side of the world.
Wow.
So, and I didn't have a possible way to make, and they wanted 5 dogs. They wanted a young adult, a female, and 3 puppies. And I had those puppies, and I had all the dogs, and that would have been like a very important sale for me. So I said I have to do it some way. But the transport of those dogs, imagine that Brazil to get to Taiwan, it's like 36 hours flights and stopovers, and it was very expensive. So he told me to go by cargo, and he said, listen, why don't you bring them yourself? There's a way that you can bring them. And I said, well, if I can figure out the way and you help me through the steps, I would be happy to do it. And he said, yes, I can help you. Of course, this is going to be cheaper for the client. And I would love to meet my clients like I always do when I deliver puppies, to know who they are and to see where they're going to live, and also create a bond, because my clients become my lifetime friends, many of them, so I said, this is a great opportunity. This is a great opportunity for me to meet these clients, to make this sale happen, because we were talking a lot of money, and to actually, not for the money, but to push my program forward a little. I needed that sale, so I studied. The only problem is that the process, little did I know, the process would take 7 months to actually happen. So yes, 7 months.
Wow, Zers.
But I have a friend that calls me Mrs. Nothing is impossible. If there's something impossible, give me 5 minutes. And I said, I want to take this risk and this challenge, and I'm going to do it. And 7 months later, I was in Taiwan landing with 5 dogs. And I never stopped after that, because people saw me in Facebook. I had a lot of breeders that followed me, connected in Facebook with any breeds, because I still do a lot of dog shows. So in dog shows, you network a lot, you meet a lot of people. In my breed, I was pretty known. A lot of people know who I am in my breed. So every time I posted, that I was going somewhere to deliver a dog, when they saw Taiwan, and they started saying, how did you do that? And can you take a dog for me to Europe? Can you bring a dog from Russia to me? And I had my own business at that time, but I started being so busy with the dogs and the transports. I got so fascinated with the transport of internationally transporting business dogs, that this business just took over. My number one business started like the scale went like this. I had to leave my trucking business with my partner, and I started doing dogs more and more. And this is actually great because I got to travel the world. But we'll get into that later too.
It sounds like a journey and a fun one.
It is.
One with full of challenges and surprises and everything else.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, let's actually take a deep dive into the subject matter, so that our viewers can really process what it entails, right? Um, let's do a segment one where we talk about the international dog transport, and because
Mhm.
there is a lot of international inquiry. So I think what holds us as people who want to either import or export, good dogs and good blood, is the fear of not being able to get the dog and spending so much money without a guarantee, right?
Right.
So, can you share with us how international dog transport works, whether it's a puppy or a dog?
Well, international transport is, even though it's only one name, it is very different for every situation, um, because there are different requirements according to countries, according to breeds, according to seasons, according to airlines, availability of airlines. So basically, what are the needs of international dog transportation? We have a few categories. Okay, we have the breeders. One of your dog's great grandparents is in Brazil,
Well, we're
and
going to
you
call that juice, because YouTube
the
doesn't like that
juice.
word, the S word.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're going to
Okay,
call
cut
it
it.
juice because, yeah, the S word, ooh,
Oh,
YouTube for some
really?
reason does not like it. And yeah, so we'll refer to it as juice moving
The
forward.
juice. Let's
There we
talk
go.
about the juice. So
The juice.
let's say that you find out that there's genetic material in another country that belongs to one of your, great grandparents of one of your dogs, and you want to go after that to bring back some generations. So this is exactly one of the reasons: the breeding, relocation of executives or families moving for any reasons, rescue dogs. Sometimes people adopt dogs in other countries, especially third world countries, and dog shows. I think these are the four pillars of the international dog shipping industry. That's
Okay.
it.
And is there at least a general guideline or requirements that a
There
dog or
are,
puppy must go through?
there is. It's pretty basic, the guidelines. What I would probably suggest, the first time a person inquires to me about a dog transportation is basically um, is basically one, where from and where to. Second, the age. Third, the breed, um, and the size and the weight. And of course, what matters most is from and to, the origin, the country of origin, and the country of destination. That's going to guide me with all the other questions, because each country has a different age um, requirement, a different immunization requirement. Sanitary rules are different for each country. And of course, some countries do not allow certain breeds. We have to pay attention to that.
Well,
And
there is breed restriction then. So let me ask you, are there Any general requirements for a dog or a puppy to travel?
There are many requirements, and everything depends on where from and where to, like I was saying. So breed restriction, weight restriction, season, sometimes it's too hot to travel depending on where you're going to. There is embargo in some areas, in some times of the year when it's too cold or it's too hot. And mainly sanitary requirements, which is the dogs need to comply with a whole bunch of requirements depending on each country, of course. And most countries require an official documentation endorsed by the government, usually the Ministry of Agriculture of each country, which here in the US is the USDA. But USDA will endorse the documents to leave the country, for example. But the CDC is the organ that actually established the rules.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's say, okay, let's play out a scenario, right?
Okay.
I'm getting a dog from you. You're in Brazil. I want the dog. We meet all the requirements, and I want to go there and meet you and get my dog. Can I fly this dog in passenger?
Sometimes, yes, absolutely. And me as a breeder and also as an expert on the dog transportation matter, I will help you. If I'm in Brazil or if I'm here in the US and you want to come here, let's say a client from another country, I would definitely help you as long as the profile of your dog and the country's exchange agreements are within the possibilities of doing the transport, which mainly it is. Most times it's possible. There are no countries that is impossible to send dogs to, and there are some countries that are a little harder, but it's possible. Most times it's possible.
Okay.
Thankfully, every country accepts dogs, right? There are some situations, for example, that Australia, for example, they are very rigid, very, very difficult country to travel to, even from rabies-free countries. Now, when it comes to third countries where they have high rabies situation, then it's almost impossible. For example, Brazilian dogs cannot enter Australia because of the rabies classification in the World Organization of Rabies.
So, okay, good question. What if I took that dog to the US first and then sent it to Australia? Would that work?
As long as it stays here for 6 months, which is the period of incubation of the rabies, and has some treatments, some serological testing, then it's possible.
See, my mind was already thinking about the workaround.
There's always a workaround.
Okay, let's say I couldn't. The dog is too big for cargo, right? For a passenger. The dogs can go cargo, right? In the plane.
There are two forms of cargo transportation. Okay, so the first one is on hold as luggage. That's the name that we call it. There's actually in aviation there's a term for that. There's an abbreviation which is AVIH for on hold with the passenger as a luggage. So it's basically just like a checked piece of luggage.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Not all the countries accept that. For example, UK, you can go with checked baggage with your dog to UK. India also doesn't accept them. So you got to fly them. Some countries in South Africa also do not accept them. So you have to fly them by cargo only, which is another segment of the transport. But the dog doesn't go in the cabin. It goes underneath the cabin in the pressurized compartment in the luggage compartment. And that is when the cargo differs from the luggage system. It's called AVI, the term. I'm not sure what that stands for, but it's just a aviation notification. And by cargo, you can only ship through a shipper, and then it demands a broker custom clearance. So it's a lot more bureaucratic. There's a lot more documentations involved, time involved. It's costly. Yes,
You
it
knew me right
is.
away. I was like, okay.
And but unfortunately, some countries will only accept cargo, and some breeds can only fly by cargo too, because they are not allowed as luggage, you know. And now it's getting harder and harder to travel with your dog on hold, like as a luggage, in cabin, even in cargo. So some situations are really getting really tricky.
Is it really difficult though?
Yes, it is.
Like if I were,
No, not all countries are difficult. Some countries have. What makes it more difficult is the restrictions of the airlines, who is ruling the dog industry, the dog shipping industry right now, are the airlines. So, for example, all of the airlines in the United States 5 years ago used to allow international trips with your dogs on hold. The thing is, it's a huge liability for these companies when something happened to the dogs. And unfortunately, because of sometimes neglect, most of the time human neglect on the airline, sometimes the airline, sometimes the ground people in the airport, accidents will happen. And sometimes nobody's fault, but animals, not every animal is suitable to be traveling underneath in a compartment. Even in cabin, we've seen some animals pass or having health issues while transported, even in the cabin. So imagine you that these airlines, they have a huge liability that goes against them. So they started changing the protocols for dog transporting. And nowadays, the big three, American Airlines, Delta, and United, they do not allow pets on hold anymore, not even domestic flights.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
And they all used to 5 years ago. Up to 5 years ago, they were all doing it. You know, United had a very good service actually called United Pet or something, that they used to, even you as a passenger, sometimes the dog was too big to go in cabin. You just had to go to a little office in the check-in, in your, the ticketing area, and you'd pay the pet fee, and they would send it for you in the same plane as you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but now they don't have that service anymore.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question that I think most people.
Pet Safe United used to be called. I used it a lot.
Here's something for international viewers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know different countries, different regulations. Can you give our viewers a ballpark of what it costs to transfer a dog or transport a dog internationally?
Internationally, we're talking between $2,500 US to $15,000.
Okay.
And 15,000, we're talking the most extreme cases, for example, from Brazil to Australia. And it's not just the transportation. We're talking about 6 months of boarding, of blood work, documentations, and then the tickets from Brazil to America, and then from America to Australia, for example.
That's the workaround we were talking about.
It is a workaround, but it's not. It's the legal way to do it, because you are just doing a quarantine on the risk period of the dog, passing some kind of rabies, and allowing the antibodies to build, as which they will have the serological test is the proof that they can travel. But unfortunately, some countries like Australia, depending where they come from, even the UK, you gotta have this procedures. Europe,
Okay.
for example,
Right.
from Brazil to Europe is 3 months.
Okay. You know what's crazy? Because you said Australia is the most extreme, right?
One of them.
Everything,
Japan too, but I think Australia is more.
everything in Australia can kill you. They have the most venomous snakes. They have crocodiles over there, the most venomous insects and spiders.
Yeah.
What are you scared of a dog? You guys have the most dangerous stuff over there.
The thing is, though, they are very careful about rabies because rabies is a terrible disease if passed to humans, and it's very infectious. It's spreadable,
I've had a dog with
So,
rabies.
oh, really?
Yep.
Wow. You
And
have to tell us about that
that's another episode, but I've had a dog with rabies.
another
before, too.
episode.
Yep.
So, anyways, it's a curiosity right now that I'm going to tell you guys. Every country, most countries that are islands, they are rabies free, and they want to continue to be rabies free because of and that's how they establish all these protocols of high security to any dogs that are entering their island. So Japan, UK, Taiwan, New Zealand, Australia, all of these little islands, anyways, they all have higher restriction levels to import dogs from other countries, especially when dogs that are coming from the classified high risk in rabies in the world. You understand?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it is very interesting. It's a different, like, it's a totally different world when you talk about islands, to
And do you
transport.
think that COVID changed a lot of that regulation?
I don't think so. No, actually, COVID for us breeders, I'm sure that most people watching here, all the breeders watching here will agree with me. COVID was actually the time that people most purchased puppies because they wanted to entertain their kids, They wanted to have something for them to do, and they started buying all these dogs, and we had a boom of sales, which is unfortunate on the other hand, because all these puppies, they grow, and COVID is not here anymore, and now people is like, man, I didn't think he was going to grow too much. I don't have time for this dog, and the shelters are completely full because of the COVID boom. And also the restrictions as far as transporting, not really. What impacted was actually the high movement, the explosive boom of the sales, that we had a lot of dogs being transported, including in the US. In July 14th, 2022, we had 2021, it was implemented a new rule, not because of COVID, but because of the boom that COVID gave to the market, and so many dogs being transported illegally. And United States was a mom for these dogs. Just come to us. They had, I think, everybody could bring a dog into the US with just a rabies shot. You don't need anything. That was until July 14th, 2021. And then they implemented this new law. They prohibited 113 countries to import dogs to the United States or export it to us. And then, of course, the transports were impacted. Like all the businesses that are in the transport industry were highly impacted by this. But
so indirectly, it did affect it.
It did, but not the way we think. The So basically what happened, everybody's home, everybody needs a dog, there's a boom of sales, there's a boom of movement and exchange of 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 dog market, everybody buying, selling domestically, internationally. And then because people were selling so much, they started wanting to ship dogs younger, and there was a lot of countries sending dogs here, puppy mills especially. Dogs were 2 months old, and they were supposed to be 4 months old to come from other countries into the US. And now they're sending these 2 months old babies, these teacup babies that are only 2 months old. They don't even have their first shots yet, and they're making papers saying that they're 4 months old. So the CDC, together with the USDA, made a rule, and they blocked from 113 countries. They said no more dogs for unlimited period of time. We had to wait another few months until they actually started a list of the requirements, and now the requirements are much more difficult to bring dogs into the US.
Okay. Well, with that said, I guess the magic question would be, if I'm just buying one dog, either a puppy or an adult, is it better for me to pick up the dog or pay a dog transport business for international travel?
Definitely hire a professional to do it. Most definitely. For many reasons. And I speak for myself because I've been transporting dogs with Dogo Jet, the name of my company, for the ones that don't know, for about 9 years now. And I've seen almost everything that you can imagine. I've seen people that started transporting with me, and they transport with me until to this date. And some people that quoted with me, well, thousands have quoted with me. And the ones that actually went through without me, sometimes they wanted to do it themselves. They wanted to, catch some information here and there. And they would say, no, it's too expensive. I'm just going to try myself. And out of these people that tried it on their own, I would say probably 80% came back to me, because out of the ones that decided, no, I'm going to do it by myself, they had some kind of problems. And they said, I wish I had contracted you in the first time, because things do happen. There's a lot of micromanagement details that if you miss one thing, the whole entire trip, and it's a lot of money, even if it's just you going to pick up a dog in a different country. Yes, of course, it's fun, and you're going to have some time off, but time is money, and you're going to still have to pay for a ticket. You're still going to have to pay for a veterinarian to get the dog analyzed and certified to travel. You're still going to have to buy a dog crate. You're still going to have to pay for a hotel. You're still going to have to pay for your expenses. You're going to have to pay for everything that we're going to do for you. But the chances of something happening that was not in the script are very high, very high. And I've seen that happening a lot, because when they get there, they didn't know certain requirements, because it's not just the sanitary requirements, it's also the airline regulations. And there's multiple regulations that you got to be in tune in order to make the thing happen. And so many times people ended up spending a little bit less because they went, but they came back without a dog, because for some reason they didn't let them board, or they didn't have the requirements, or the dog wasn't old enough, or the crate was too small for the type of dog. So it's very complex, but this is why we're here. Dogo Jet's here to help you.
Here we go. Well, I'm going to piggyback off that one, because guys, for you guys listening, one, It's the regulation of the place you're taking the dog to, the country, the airport, the airline. Three things right there, right? You go to the other place to go get the dog, let's say internationally, it's the country, the airport, the airline, right?
That
And
is an excellent point, because remember, there are rules for you to enter one country, but there are rules for you to leave the other country. And that's where most people, I've had nannies, like so-called professional nannies, that went to Brazil to get dogs, and they couldn't board because the documentation was wrong. So they ended up, calling me and saying that something happened. And I'm like, that's the difference. When you're a professional, that kind of issue should never happen. Never. When you go to a country, and I used to go to countries, I used to travel myself. Now I have a team of nannies that travel for me, and but I supervise from from the beginning to the end. But I would never travel to a country or buy a ticket without understanding all the regulations, all the airlines, all the possibilities, the route, the distance, the type of dog, because there are different breeds for each kind of travel. You got to think that a brachycephalic dog, which is snub nose, will not be able to do a long trip in a crate underneath for too long. Sometimes they do, especially puppies, but older dogs, they don't. Well, nowadays you can't even travel them on hold anymore in the cargo compartment, So it's very complicated. There are many little, like I said, micromanagement details
yeah,
that.
the nuances that come in between. So
Exactly.
for you guys, I'm going to bridge that gap for you, right? So for me, I've done it. I've done it in the early 90s as well. And so remember, it's the country, the airport, the airline. And when you get to the other side, this is assuming you have no stops. When you get to the other side, it's the country, the airport, the airline. That's 6 factors on top of the international regulation for health and safety, right? So, want to bring clarity on that. Of course, now, again, if you are going to transport a dog, guys, really think about where the dog's coming from, where it's going to. I'm going to tell you to pay, even if you're going to do it yourself, consult with a professional. Let somebody take most of that, 95% of that stress away from you by doing the homework and research, because the chances are Araya's probably been to the country already with a dog, because she's been doing this for how long and how many places and different places she's been. And things always change. Regulation changes based on
Exactly.
events. And so
That's what I was going to say, that the regulations, I've been to almost 50 countries, but the regulations probably are different than what it was when I was there. So I'm always on top of it. And
yep.
that's another thing that you mentioned, because of the cost of these transports, because they're so expensive, we do offer now consulting services. We have the express consultations offer, that is 1 hour consultation with me, directly with me, to give you a broad understanding depending on what your demand is. And we also have the hand on hand. I'm going to hold your hand and we're going to follow the process. You don't need to hire me to do the transport. But if it's possible that you can go and get your dog, or that you are a breeder and you have a client picking up the dog with you, so you don't lose that sale because of transport, I'm going to grab your hand and we're going to go step by step through all the requirements, all the routes, all the possibilities. And there's a consultation fee for that. Of course, it's more on one-on-one. It's depending on how long the process is, it's more expensive. But there's also, I have a very quick consulting fee for 1 hour conversation to just to give you a broad idea if it's possible or not, and the options. And then there's the consultation throughout the process, which includes all the documents that you're going to that are going to be necessary for that trip to happen. Of course, I don't do the documents, but I'm going to teach you what they are and which airlines to use. Even immigration, it's very important that you know when you arrive in a different country what you're going to say for those for the customs and for immigration, because sometimes you
You
can
gotta
be
claim it.
taxed
You have to
on
claim.
the top. You have to claim,
Claim a
or if
live
it's your
animal.
personal dog, if it's a personal dog, you don't have to pay, but you got to claim it, and there's a different ways of doing it. So there are professionals like me. DogoJet is now offering consultation. If you don't want to hire, or if you can't hire a professional to actually do the transport for you, I will be happy to help you.
See,
Thanks
guys,
for
I told
reminding
you. Didn't I tell you? I told you I was going to bring people smarter than me to our show so that we can all grow as a community. See? Yay.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for.
This is why you guys like and subscribe my stuff, because I'm going to bring you smart people. That's my job. Anyhow, our risk. Can we talk about risk mitigation? If you hire a professional, obviously there's less risk because that person knows how to do it. Versus, let's say I hire you to give me a consultation. What are my risk of transporting a dog myself versus a professional?
Nothing is 100% guarantee. Okay. In this business, nothing is 100% guarantee. First of all, we're dealing with lives, you know, and for something to go wrong with a live animal, all it takes is to be alive, just like us, right? So but of course, what the difference between doing with a professional and an amateur is that a professional will take all of the procedures necessary for safety and well-being of the dog first and foremost, and also the safety of, you know, the transport, the comfort, allied to the assertiveness of documentations, of airlines, anyways, everything that's involving, that's in this industry, that, you know, there's a lot of restrictions, so yeah, I think the risk is there. Something can go wrong. I've seen multiple scenarios that things went wrong. Thankfully, nothing very bad happened in my company because we're very careful. But I did have one episode that it was very tragic, and I'm not going to say the airline, but they did drop the crate of the dog from the airline ramp, and they admitted the risk, the fault. Like they made me a letter saying that it was their fault, you know.
I don't think they could deny it.
No, there was no way to deny it,
right?
especially because it was me doing the transport. And I record everything that I do. When I'm tying up if I'm tying up the zip ties for the crate, I'm making sure that the bolts are tight, and I'm filming everything to show my clients, look, this is how I do it. You know, not everybody does that, but I used to do that all the time, and I had everything, and I had all the proofs to go against the airline, and luckily, and it wasn't even me that went after the airline, my client did, and they won in court because they lost a dog to that. Yeah, but think like it's out of our reach. There's nothing we can do about it, you know, and it can happen with anybody. It could happen to somebody that's just transporting their pets, or a professional, or even a cargo company. You know, things happen. People, airlines, sometimes they misplace luggage, but luggage is a little different because there's thousands of luggages, you know, suitcases that are lost every day in different airports, but there's not so many dogs that are lost. So when there's one, it's easy to find.
No,
I mean,
take your dog by accident.
Of course, and it's not something that happen often. So but it's happened. I mean, it's happened that, you know, that unfortunately fatalities happen in every business. But thankfully, we take all the precautions to, with making so many mistakes, so many errors that I went through to understand, to get to this point where I know where things can go wrong, or most of the things when they can go wrong. So we take all the precautions and all the protocols of doing the best for the dog and for the equation, for the operation to go well.
In Araya, we trust.
Thank you. I trust my work. I have to be honest with you. I do trust my work. Like and it's not easy. It's not fun. Everybody thought, especially when I was traveling the world, I would be in 4 continents in like 1 week. And everybody used to say, "Oh, you lived the life that I always wanted to live." But there's a lot of things that can go wrong. It's very lonely. You're always in the plane, in the airport, and it's not easy. That's why I stopped traveling them myself. Sometimes I still travel some dogs myself, especially when I want to go somewhere to a country, like to see my family in Brazil. If I have a dog to transport, I'll be happy to do it. But I don't do that.
Well, there you go, guys. If you want Araya herself to bring your dog to you, guys, paid a little bit of extra. It's worth it. It is so worth it. And
yeah, but if I don't go, I have a very reliable team that works with me, that they're amazing, and I absolutely trust them. You can say that for yourself, Earl.
So with the UK ban on bullies, right?
Fortuna came with one of my nannies, and he was amazing. Like everything went perfect.
All right, I'm going to share my experience shortly, but has the UK ban affected dog transport at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Not the transport, but the business itself. I think the UK ban has affected our breeders, that were selling to the UK, because UK was one of #1 market for, especially for the XL bullies, but not only for the bullies. They have amazing dogs. They have Crufts there, which is a very well-known dog show, and they have very high quality dogs there from every breed, and they love dogs. But unfortunately, we had a ban, and that affects mainly our business. Consequently, our transportations too. And I say our business because I'm a breeder. So, all of the breeders that have, and we're talking about the bullies, the recently the UK just banned everyone that has an XL bully. They are taking some procedures that are drastic. They're not going to be able to import any more bullies. So of course that will be impacting our.
I donate to that cause. For the.
Me too. Oh, I definitely did too.
For the barrister.
Save our bullies, yes. Yeah. The barrister, yes. Yeah. I donated, I think, twice.
I donated for that, and I was really hoping they were able to turn that around, because it's sad. The marketplace and the industry is one thing, but it's more sad for the people who love the dogs there and have the dogs.
Exactly. They're family, Our dogs are our family.
The US said, like, Araya, we're banning XL. What are you going to do about your dogs? Like, no, I'm not giving up my dogs. It's ridiculous.
No.
That's insane.
And it's insane the way they did it, because they don't even know those attacks. They assume that they were XLs, but even if they were, it is not the dogs. It is not the dogs. It's the owners. It's how you raise the dogs. Absolutely. You have to punish the owners, because next time it's going to be another breed, and what's going to happen to the UK? There's not going to be pets there anymore,
Yeah, or the pets that they don't deem fit, But that's a whole thing that I don't want to get into on this episode.
No, that's another episode.
Anyway,
yes, but definitely impacted the transportation when it comes to the bully world, to the XL bullies. Because we did have a lot of transports there, especially because it's one of my breeds. So we had a lot of transports to the UK. And now we have a lot of transports from the UK to the United States. But it's unfortunate because this is the
Yeah,
kind of
that's
transport that we
sad.
didn't want to. I didn't want to be doing that. It's
Yeah.
very sad taking the dogs from the UK right
Imagine
now.
if you built a amazing program and now you
Oh,
just
we have amazing dogs there. Yeah.
yeah, and then all of a sudden they're gonna tell you, oh, like, oh my gosh, I can't.
Yeah.
Anyhow, let's wrap that segment one of international, and we're gonna transition into segment two, which is more national or local, if you say in the U.S. But before that, I really, really love having you as a guest because you are amazing and full of knowledge. So,
Thank you.
can you share with us some exciting news at Samba Kennels right now?
Yes, we have some exciting news, not just one, but I think two right now. We just had a litter that was a project that I did um, with multiple males, with one female, and we DNA tested them, and we had a dual sire litter, successful.
Nice.
So we had Lily bred to Klaus in Berlin, and we have 2 puppies from Berlin and 5 puppies from Klaus. So that was exciting to see, the genetics working there. I've done that before in the past, but I was not successful in having 2 sires because there's always, I've seen a lot of people trying to do it. Sometimes it works, but it's usually one of the sires is more dominant. The genetics are more dominant, and then it ends up that the biggest number is usually one or the other sire, if there's two. Like it happened, Klaus dominated there. He had 5 babies, and Berlin had 2. But I'm super happy with it because it's one girl and one boy from Berlin. Um, and Berlin just went to Mexico. He's not here with us anymore because he's going to shine in a Mexican program, not only as for a breeder, but also for dog shows. He's going to be showing in South America, Central America, and I'm very happy because I already got from him what I wanted. I wanted these 2 puppies, and I have another litter that's going to be born next month with Blondie, my production. Blondie of Samba Kennels. She's a daughter of Chuck Norris, and FSB Blondie. It's a beautiful girl, granddaughter of Big Woodland, and I bred her to Berlin. So we're gonna have babies next month. We're talking, today is February. We're talking March.
All right.
Yes, and I guess the greatest news that I have is that our boy Tractor, our new stud coming from Brazil, is arriving next week. So for the ones that already know or don't know, that boy over there in that picture, that's Klaus. And now I'm gonna have Tractor here. I'm super excited. Tractor's already bugging the internet. Everybody wants to get to know him. Yes, we already sold 6 stud locks. He's not even here yet. It hasn't even been a month that I started advertising him.
Nice.
And guess what? I just got his juice ready to go to Australia.
The juice.
I'm not going to get that one wrong anymore.
Yeah, don't say the S word. That's a bad word.
Yes.
So
So talking about Australia, yes, we have a breeder in Australia that's interested in that already locked Tractor in, and so we're gonna have the first international.
Oh, let me bring him up.
shipment.
Hold on. Let me minimize this picture I have here. Let me go to your your page. Oh, there he is. Oh, there he goes. There he is, guys. So, for you guys are wondering who are we talking about, Tractor? This is this amazingly handsome freak of a Brazilian stud right here. I can't wait to see this boy. In fact, once she gets him and gets him settled in, I gotta go see you again, and I gotta go see him because
Yeah.
when I saw Klaus, I was fell in love, and now it's is it Klaus or Tractor? I don't want to cheat on Klaus with Tractor, so I gotta stay faithful. But I want to see him because you know me, I love the females. I got a lot of females on my yard, so this boy is. I'm very very excited for you to get him here.
Me too, for sure.
So guys, here she has a litter on the ground with Klaus and Lily. That's a dual sire. So if you guys are looking for puppies right now off of Klaus or Berlin, off of Lily, they can reach you at Instagram or her website right here,
Mm-hmm.
sambakennels.com. Right
Kennels.com.
here's
We have, I just started advertising this litter, but I already have two females reserved, but I have a couple of females still available, and I'm not selling the boys at this moment.
okay,
Not
guys.
right
So
now. I want to wait till they grow a little bit.
what I'm showing you is the website right here. So you're going to see one male DNA tested fawn try and dilute carrier, one male fawn, 12.5. She may or may not sell him, guys. If you're nice to her, she'll probably sell him to you. So there's a male. He is a fawn. 4 females. There you go. 3 black tries, which is one of my favorite colors. I do not have a black try on my yard.
Come on, Earl. Need to get one.
I have okay, chocolate fawn. Right here, this girl right here looks like my baby Katana that I got from your last litter.
She's Katana 2.0.
Yeah, she is. And then you have the 2 off Berlin right here. One chocolate tri male and one lilac tri female. All of them looking amazing. And I will be biased because I like the black tri. Um, and I think Aria has too many dogs in her yard, so I'm gonna have to adopt Tetra um, because that's what family does, right? So there you go, guys. Look, check it out, sambakennels.com. Available puppies, right? You could also catch her on her actual Instagram handle. Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
Scroll up for you guys to see it. Samba Kennels right here. You're seeing that on your screen. There's the beautiful Aria and the handsome Mr. Klaus. And you can see them right there. So if you guys are looking for juice, this is the lady with lots of juice, guys. Lots of juice with amazing boys. And, oh, look at this one. This is what I'm talking about, guys. This is Tetra and her sister Dulce. Look at these girls, right? And I'm so right now. I have their sister who is Katana. She's a fawn. I picked her because of Klaus. And then I have a chocolate tri, but I'm missing one color, guys. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna start a GoFundMe.
You need a black tri now.
So look at these girls, guys. This is what Klaus is throwing right here, right? So with the puppies on the ground that you saw, look, this is half of a repeat breeding. Look at these beautiful girls. And if you go to my website, you'll see some of the girls that I got off this litter. And I went there for 1 and got 2 because they were amazing. And Klaus is amazing, and so is Araya.
I have 3 puppies. I have 3 puppies that are black tris, but 2 are already reserved. There's only 1 available.
Wow. Well, I think.
But who knows?
I don't know. The one with the blue scarf is nice. The blue. So I'm showing our viewers. So these are some amazing dogs, but I like a black tri. I really do.
You do.
I do because I don't have one. So guys,
you gotta have one. Let me take care of you.
There you go.
We'll talk. We'll talk.
So guys, she has a litter on the ground, and she has a lot of good quality juice over there, guys. All right. So, and then if you want to transport the dog, guess what? You have the expert in house. So let's say you bought a dog from Maria, and
I'm the full package.
Absolutely, because
I'm the full package.
How do I get this dog to me? Like, don't worry. I happen to be a specialist in dog transport, and she is a very fair and nice person. So if you got
Thank you.
one of her, preferred picks of dogs, she would take care of you probably at a discounted rate just to show you the love, because that's how Araya is. And that's why I fell in love with her as my breeder, as my friend, as my mentor, a person that's helped guide me and navigate me through this dog breeding and dog industry, the bully world. And guys, you're missing out. Get these dogs and get her consultation, right? Or do both. Get the dog and have her transported to you because she knows how to do it.
Yeah, right. No, absolutely. I love helping my clients, like I said, because of the transparency that I work with them, and I just treat everybody like I like to be treated. And this is why this is the basics of uh, a durable relationship. And this is why I have clients that bought my first puppies in 2007, 2005 that are still my friends, and they came back for other dogs, and sometimes they just send me messages to see how I'm doing, and we exchange messages. So the best thing about this business is that we make friends. We can deal
Absolutely.
with dogs and we make friends, and this is what we should praise, and we should care for the human relations too.
Oh, question for you, because I just pulled up Tractor on your website. Is
Yes.
this accurate? His stud fee is still 5,000, or are you done with those early lock-ins already?
No, actually, the early lock-ins, they were 3,500,
Okay.
but they are already gone. I already closed the fives, and
Okay,
now
so you're at
he's at
5,000 right now.
he's 5,000. Yes, I'm
Okay,
gonna keep
perfect.
for some time, for 5,000. I want him to come here. I want to, do everything that I need to do. I'm gonna embark him, see, put weight on him because I know he lost a lot of weight in order to travel. But yeah, it's 5,000. I'm gonna leave it at that for now.
Okay, because I brought it up on the screen, and I don't want somebody to be like, "Well, you put on your screen it's 5,000. Now she's charging more." Guys,
No, it's
lock in.
updated.
Okay. So, guys, if you want that number before he goes and champs out in the
Yes,
world,
it is 5,000.
get in there. Put your lock-ins in,
5K.
guys. I got mine in. You guys get yours. I'm telling you. Look at that boy. He's nice. I can't wait to see him. Super excited.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come here next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I got no choice. I gotta go. I gotta see him. Plus, I owe you a visit anyway. So,
Yeah, and
on
I owe you a visit too. I'm gonna be there in March. You already know, right?
come visit over here. Absolutely. For Sumo, guys, I'm going to reiterate that I am pushing the business plans out. We're going to hit our early lock-ins on that as well. Complete 8-part business plan for you to understand, and that's a 5-year trajectory. Some of you guys have reached out to me already. Thank you very much. For you guys who haven't, that's what we got going on, because that's I'm a numbers guy. I'm like the Rain Man, right? And then locally in our area, a lot of you guys reach out to me for the food. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate you.
Oh, I'm loving that. I'm loving those episodes of the food. I love seeing all
It's
that
a lot of
meat.
work. Oh my
It is
God,
a lot
it's
of
a lot
work.
of work. Like, it's 2 hours of errands and then probably 6-7 hours of grinding.
But
But
listen, guys, I am a testimony of what he's been doing with his dogs, and he transitioned fully to raw, and the dogs look absolutely amazing. The benefits of the raw food, you gotta try Sumo's raw food if you're in his area, because it's worth it. It's worth every penny.
it's a lot of work, and it started like with us really want to giving our dogs the best, right?
Hmm.
And then people's like, "Hey, can I get some?" And we weren't trying to sell the food. We were just showing people what they could do. There's no secret to it. I show it in the episodes so that everyone can do it as well. It's more of me just sharing it with the community. And some people have the time, or some people have the setup, and some people don't. And those are the people who reach out to me that don't have the time or the setup, and they're like, "You know what? Let me just get it from you." And I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I didn't get into this to grind dog food. I promise. Like, it's just a
Oh,
byproduct
it takes.
of what you do.
It takes. I have the setup. You know that.
Mhm.
I used to grind, and I haven't been grinding because I don't have the time. It's worth it, you know. And and believe me, it's just a little bit more expensive than buying kibble, but
Hmm.
all the money that you're going to save from not taking these dogs to vets, it's so much worth it. You know, in the long term, you got to understand that the benefits for remember, guys, cancer is number one cause of cancer in dogs is kibble. You know,
Absolutely.
unfortunately, we have to be clear here. Dogs didn't have cancer in the early ages, you know, when they were starting to be domesticated, and now we see that all the time. And the raw food is definitely the way to go. If you don't have the time, spend a little bit more. And if you're near Chicago area, right, Sumo?
Yep. I got people in Milwaukee, Chicago, Chicagoland area, Wisconsin that meet me
You're gonna
halfway.
have to start a national distribution center.
You know, I really did it because I want my dogs to have the best. And then I shared it so that people can do it themselves, right?
Absolutely.
And that was my contribution to help. Is like, look, this is what I'm doing. It's amazing. You guys should try it. Do it yourself,
There's
right?
no preservatives, there's no
Nothing.
chemicals. It's natural. It's how they're supposed to eat. You
Yes.
know, it's balanced, and they love it. That's the most important part. They love it.
No, they do love it. So with that said, guys, we're going to take a short break before we go into segment 2, local. So we're going to cut right here and we'll catch you in 1 second.